Good evening, everybody.
Hello, hello.
Welcome to another episode of Critique Corner with me, Daniel Parker.
And me, DB Fastbinder. And once again, the YouTube algorithm is kind of ignoring us and kicking our butts. So if you enjoy the show, if you're watching, please give us that algorithmic love. Like, subscribe, comment, hit the bell.
Yes, all that good stuff. Yeah.
Also, if you follow Daniel on Twitter, he live streams over there too. So, if you can also pop in there, follow his Twitter account, or excuse me, his X account, not to dead name it. But
yes,
yeah. I feel like we were in a really good place earlier in the year, and there was just like some behind the scenes switch and just like off a cliff. So
yeah. And it's not just us either. It seems like a lot of content creators are experiencing the same woes.
Right.
Yeah, so,
but it happens. YouTube reshuffles the algorithm every so often, but sometimes the cards aren't in your favor.
Yeah. But yes, please help us out, support the channel, all that good stuff, because we definitely could use it. And if you're new to our show, or if you're returning, welcome back. If you're new to our show, what we do is we critique stuff, usually movies. We do something new or more contemporary with something classic or older. Usually we have something that we will review that we've been watching or consuming on our own, but neither of us have anything this week, so it's going to be kind of a shortened show.
Yep, I was traveling all weekend. I guess I could review the puppy I got to play with at my cousin's place, but Boo Healer and Corgi is a good combination.
Yes, yeah. But starting us off tonight for our reviews, we watched Red Notice.
Yes, Red Notice, the Netflix original. I happened to be with somebody, and he suggested watching it because we were just looking for something to do before bedtime. And I said, you've been suggesting this movie to me for years, so why not?
Yes, and then DB said he told me he was watching it, and I said, well, I guess I better watch it too, because I didn't really have a whole lot of time to watch anything else. So gave this a watch, and it's pretty paint by numbers, boilerplate Netflix original movie.
Yeah, this one. Okay, so I feel like South Park predicted the future again many years ago. Yeah. Do you remember the episode where Cartman pretended to be a robot? Like he was just in a cardboard box and pranking Butters, and he ended up being kidnapped by some movie executives who kept forcing him to come up with pitches for movies.
Yeah.
Well, first off, if Netflix actually has Awesome-O, that would explain why they have so many Adam Sandler movies, because 90% of his pitches involved Adam Sandler in that episode.
Yeah.
but I can just picture that. Okay, so you got The Rock and the guy from Deadpool and Wonder Woman, and it's like National Treasure combined with what's a movie where a guy has to prove his innocence illegally? Like The Fugitive. It's like Indiana Jones meets The Fugitive, and there's Nazi treasures, and then it turns out they were all bad after all.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, it's very much like one of those like treasure hunt heist movie kind of thing. And every time I hate to, Rick and Morty ruined heist movies for me, because they did a whole episode where they're parodying heist movies.
Oh, yeah. And you son of a bitch, you got me, I'm in.
Yeah, you son of a bitch, I'm in.
That's the only part of that episode I've seen, so that tells me that maybe I shouldn't watch it, because that might ruin heist movies for me.
Yeah, well, yeah. Although that episode did give us the great line, "Your boobs mean nothing. I've seen what makes you cheer."
Maybe I have seen that one then, because I do remember that line. Maybe they use it a couple of times.
Yeah, I think they did. Yeah. But yeah, but this movie is like just it's yeah, like I said, very standard. I mean, you got Dwayne Johnson playing his usual, Dwayne Johnson character.
Actually, they're all kind of playing their own usual characters. It's just that Gal Gadot doesn't really emote, so she just
Yeah,
doesn't really have a character per se.
that's true. Kal-El, no.
Kal-El, no. Sidebar. Okay, that line has always bothered me
Yeah,
because that was a thing in the comics where she always called him Kal-El.
yeah,
But the DCEU version of Wonder Woman at that stage of things should have one had no idea what his Kryptonian name was, and two, they wouldn't have had the close relationship where she would decide to use that as her name for him, since they met once and he died.
Yeah, at the very least, you'd call him Clark. I mean, yeah.
Right, because didn't they show her interacting with Ma Kent?
Yeah, well, yeah, she was at his funeral.
Yeah, so that's okay. Sorry about that. I got distracted. Yes. Look, any excuse to beat up on the Snyderverse. But...
yeah. but yeah. So and Ryan Reynolds is of course Ryan Reynolds. Yeah,
right. He is maskless Deadpool.
Yes. Yeah. So and I think this poster is photoshopped. Looks photoshopped.
Yeah, now that you mention it, the Rock's shirt does look a little bit too smooth.
Yeah, and Ryan Reynolds' head looks off.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this movie centers on our trio here. First, we meet Dwayne Johnson's character, Hartley, who is an FBI agent for the. He works for the BAU, which is the Behavioral Analysis Unit, and if you watch Criminal Minds, that's the same unit, and they focus mainly on serial killers. I didn't really realize that they would also do like international art thieves.
It's also a weird choice because they have him psychoanalyze Reynolds a couple of times, who is our master thief here.
Yeah,
but it's like I don't feel like he never really uses it to solve a problem, as I recall. It's more just like it's a way that he like manages to goad him into character exposition.
Yeah. Well, and there was the one scene in the mansion with him and with Dwayne Johnson and then Gal Gadot, but we'll get to that in a second. But yeah, so Ryan Reynolds is Nolan Booth. He's this world-renowned international art thief, and he's trying to steal one of Cleopatra's eggs. And for those of you who don't know, Cleopatra had these like 3 golden eggs.
So I looked it up, and apparently they are made up.
Oh, okay, they are made up. Okay. Well, they made them up for the movie. Yeah. So in this movie universe, Cleopatra had these 3 golden eggs, and one of them is in this museum in Rome, and then another one is owned by a private dealer, and then the third one is supposedly lost and nobody knows where it is.
Yep, except our heroes figure it out. But
yeah. But yeah, so Dwayne Johnson shows up because he knows that Ryan Reynolds is going to steal the egg, and sure enough, he does. And eventually, Ryan Reynolds gets away in this like really put upon chase sequence, and there. I will say one kind of clever scene in the movie was they're kind of like setting up this like really death-defying car chase in Rome, where like Dwayne Johnson hops into what was a Porsche.
Yep, right. He's like about to peel out in hot pursuit.
Yeah, it was about the but then his car gets hit by a gelato truck.
Yeah.
So just put the kibosh on that.
This movie does have a pretty good sense of humor. I decided to look up who was behind it. It was written and directed by Rawson Marshall Thurber, who the main thing that I know about is actually he directed Dodgeball, a true underdog story, and We're the Millers, among other things.
Huh.
Although he also directed that Skyscraper movie that The Rock was in 2018. So,
okay.
Man, the death of R-rated comedy really forced a lot of people to make some adjustments.
Yeah, it did. Yeah. Oof.
Which does explain some of the good comedic timing that is on display in this movie.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But anyways, so The Rock, he crashes into a gelato truck. He's about to leave Rome when it turns out that he's been set up as part of the scheme.
Yes. Yeah. And so, because they catch up with Ryan Reynolds in Bali, and but then they have this whole switcheroo thing where the egg got switched out with a fake, and that's because Gal Gadot was there to switch it out. Because Gal Gadot's character, she plays
Bishop,
the Bishop, Bishop, who's this like a lot of people think, oh, she's Bishop's a legend, not real, doesn't exist. But no, she was real, and so she sets up Dwayne Johnson to take the fall for it, and then he and Ryan Reynolds end up in this Russian prison, and they decide, okay, well, we got to work together, because Dwayne Johnson wants to clear his name, and then Ryan Reynolds wants to get the other eggs, and become very rich.
Right. And so it's a world hopping series of heists where they just have to again, they're trying to get the eggs while constantly bickering with each other.
Yeah, they have this sort of buddy cop dynamic going where I couldn't really tell if like I was just waiting for Dwayne Johnson to punch Ryan Reynolds like in almost every scene because he just kept mouthing off.
Right, and The Rock's character is not the type of guy who he doesn't seem like he would put up with nonsense.
Yeah. Although, most of his characters are kind of like that.
Well, it's because he usually plays the same character.
That's true.
There are a couple that are a bit more comedic in their bent. But even that's usually not so much the character themselves is funny, it's that the situation they're in is funny. Like, gosh, in the last few movies I've seen with him, the furthest I've seen him push himself is probably in the Jumanji movies, where he was pretending to be a teenager suddenly in his own body.
I still need to see those movies.
The first one at least is worth the effort. So it's kind of interesting watching this one because it is a perfect time capsule of what 2021 was like. Because this was like, I think it was like a $200 million movie in large part because of the salaries of the top three actors.
Yeah, because a lot the visual effects in this movie, like most of like I don't think they really filmed on the locations where they are. Like it looked like it was mostly green screen and CGI. And even then it was really cheap looking.
Yeah. I will say that there are some good action set pieces. I think the one that stuck with me a week later the most is when they're in the museum and Ryan Reynolds gets into the fight on the scaffolding.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he's doing doing all the parkour stuff, which another thing that was ruined by Rick and Morty for me.
Rick and Morty ruins most things.
Yeah,
like my personal opinion on Rick and Morty is that in retrospect, I liked the first couple of seasons, but okay, like the show that is the closest to the style of Rick and Morty, in my opinion, is is Futurama. But I feel like Futurama usually liked the things that it was parodying, where Rick and Morty just thinks it's better than the things it's parodying.
Yeah, yeah. I think Justin Roiland and Dan Harmon started getting a little too high on their own farts.
All right, and I'll just do like a quick side example here. Futurama did an episode where they had the Harlem Globetrotters in space, which was just like that was their loving tribute to all the 70s cartoon, the Harlem Globetrotters in space.
Yeah.
And the Harlem Globetrotters were just treated like very straightforwardly. Like, what if the Harlem Globetrotters were a serious scientific organization? And so they just have a lot of fun with the tropes of it, having these people who are acting like they're serious scientists doing basketball stuff all the time. If Rick and Morty did a Harlem Globetrotters in space, it would just be Rick the whole time going, "Oh yeah, that makes a whole lot of sense, Morty. Basketballers in space because they got the skills."
Oh, what geniuses! I can't believe you were able to figure that out.
Yeah.
But enough about Rick and Morty.
That keeps coming up this episode, which I think is because there isn't all that much to talk about with this. It is the humor is very Marvel-esque. I'm okay. From here on, there'll be spoilers because there is kind of a big one that makes some of my thoughts about the movie feeling a little bit odd. Makes sense in retrospect. So if you want to just go have some fun for like an hour and 40 minutes, there are much worse things you could put on. There's like some weird decisions, like the British arms trader. He was actually like 40 or 50 maybe at the most, but he sounded like this, and I think it was the actor's attempt to give him a serious British accent and failing miserably.
Yeah.
I'll also give a shout out to Ritu Arya as Inspector Urvashi Das for being, in my humble opinion, prettier than Gal Gadot, and also being a pretty good no-nonsense police officer character.
Yeah.
I'd watch something else with her in it.
Yeah, I would too.
Actually, I'm going to put the spoiler part of it off too. This movie also taught me why Gal Gadot had to be so heavily auto-tuned for Snow White.
Yeah.
There's a bit where they are doing some enhanced interrogation, quote unquote, and she decides to get mean with it, with some of these sensitive bits.
Yes.
And she goes, so the song she was actually singing was Downtown. We'll be there downtown. So it's supposed to be like it's supposed to be a falling note, right?
Yeah.
The way she kept saying it was downtown, basically downtown, like kind of flat.
Yeah.
Like no voice modulation. I kept thinking to myself, how is that the acceptable cut?
Yeah. We did 12 takes and that was the best one.
Yes. Up and at them.
Up and or yeah. I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark.
Yeah. Okay, so now we're getting to actual spoilers. The Rock was in on it the whole time.
Yeah. Which, in the back of my head, I was kind of thinking that.
He did in the first act kind of admit that he was the bad. He was like the bad guy, but it was. I think the head fake was it. He's being sarcastic. Okay.
Yeah. And good to see you, Ninja. And
hey,
Ninja. I will watch it, but I don't know if I'll see it in the theater. Fantastic Four, that is. But he was the bad guy, and or he was in on it because he and Gal Gadot are a couple, and because there are two bishops on chessboard, they're both bishop. Ooh. Yeah, Ninja. Not quite like in Get Smart, but
I would say that Get Smart had the better twist, actually.
Yeah.
In part because it was the better movie. If I was going to recommend kind of a forgettable action movie.
Yeah. If I had to choose between this movie or Get Smart, I'd go with Get Smart. But yeah, there's that twist, and then they okay. So the whole thing, the reason they had to get the eggs, and I completely forgot about this until it happened in the movie. They had to get the eggs to this billionaire Egyptian guy before his daughter's wedding, because it was supposed to be a wedding gift, because the eggs were going to be a wedding gift for her on her wedding day, and but then, like, of course, and then there was the odd Ed Sheeran cameo.
Ed Sheeran, yeah.
Ed Sheeran, yeah, okay. Yeah, I can't remember how to pronounce his name.
But that was also very 2021.
Yes. Although I did like the part where they were arresting him. He's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I was in Game of Thrones."
And I was like, he was in Game of Thrones? I mean, I've never seen Game of Thrones, but that was kind of startling to me. Yeah. I think of him as just that being that soft-spoken musician who likes to make people sad.
Yes. But why did they turn in the billionaire couple to the
I don't know entirely, because it kind of felt arbitrary. Like, it's like they didn't want the bad guys to win, but I don't remember why our heroes decided to turn on them, because that's just bad business to like get a big paycheck from somebody for doing a gig and then turning them over to law enforcement.
It didn't make any sense to me at all.
Yeah. So the movie ends with the three of with Ryan Reynolds having successfully screwed them over after they screwed him over, because Gal Gadot and The Rock were working together the whole time, apparently.
Yeah.
And so they kind of left him with nothing.
Yeah, they left him high and dry, and then he kind of like made a deal with the Interpol lady, but then he's like, "No, I don't want to do that. Well, I want to work with you guys."
Right. And so the movie ends kind of promising a sequel that we haven't gotten yet. Maybe in a couple of years when all of their careers are at a lower point.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Well, it shows them. Yeah, the last shot there is them going to the Louvre.
Yep.
So, wonder what they're gonna steal the Mona Lisa.
Maybe. Yeah. It's peak 2021 Netflix, because Gal Gadot keeps beating people up, like grown men up. Now, as far as like people who could actually hold their own in a fight, I would put Gal Gadot up there, just because she is, she manages to sell that. But her being on even terms with The Rock makes much more sense when you realize that he's in on it.
Yeah. Once you realize, that the two are like, oh, okay, so he was pulling his punches and faking it. Yeah. Well, I mean, I will say, Gal Gadot, I mean, she's former Israeli Defense Force. So,
right.
Yeah, so she knows how to do all that fighting stuff. But you're right. Yeah.
Right. He still has 100 pounds of muscle on her, so it's especially the way he juices himself.
Yeah. But
yeah, like I would say it's totally acceptable time to be had.
Yeah.
I would definitely watch it again before I watched The Adam Project again. That one was just kind of annoying.
Yeah, I still haven't seen that one yet.
I don't recommend it. Okay. And also, Ninja, I have sent Daniel my response to your recommendation.
Yes. Let me. Let's see. How do I? Okay. Here. Share screen. Here we go.
I don't care who recommends it. I'm still not seeing Fantastic Four in theaters.
Yeah.
Is that the nicest way to put it? No, but I also am portraying myself as a jerk in this meme, so there you go.
Yeah.
Mostly it's just because I just haven't seen anything from it that interested me all that much, and also just kind of I don't know, like I was willing to see Superman twice because I knew it would be interesting. Fantastic Four, just like I'm tired of the MCU, even if it was even good stuff. So it's just I'll catch it on Disney Plus whenever.
Yeah, same here. And I will also add Pedro Pascal. I'm so sick of that guy.
Yeah, I do keep hearing that he is better than he has any right to, or that I'm going to say that less negatively. He is better than he was anticipated to be.
Mm.
In fact, better than it was anticipated to be is how I'm hearing a lot of people talk about Fantastic Four. So, yeah. I'm glad people are having fun with it.
Yeah, me too.
Also, it is very noteworthy that the Red Notice review ended up turning into discussions of Rick and Morty, Fantastic Four,
Snyderverse.
Like, it's not the most interesting movie in the world.
No, it isn't.
It is that Osmo 2000 or whatever it was movie pitch realized.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Honestly, the reason we probably haven't seen a Red Notice 2 yet is because Netflix ran the numbers and decided they don't want to spend another $200 million on. And maybe I'm only just assuming it was $200 million. Let's find out.
Well, I will say, well, they probably needed one of
$200 million.
Oh,
that all went to the actors and maybe some accountants, lawyers.
Yeah.
It
didn't get on the screen, that's for sure.
Nope.
Yes.
All right. Well, transition goes here.
Wayne's World.
Wayne's World.
Party time. Excellent.
So this movie has a near and dear place to my heart. Like I've only seen it a couple of times, and truth be told, I might have only ever seen the last half of it on TV one time. But I remember having a positive opinion of it before going into this rewatch.
Yeah. I actually had the privilege of seeing it in the theater when it came out. Which is pretty amazing, though, because I was only 7 years old when it came out.
Yeah, it is pretty impressive.
It's a PG-13 movie. But I had a pretty cool mom and dad, and of course, many of the jokes just right over my head.
Yeah, these two. Okay, so Wayne's World is based on the Mike Myers and Dana Carvey ongoing series of sketches from Saturday Night Live, where they basically played two idiots who were obsessed with rock and roll having their own public access cable show out of their living room.
A basement,
excuse me.
Sorry.
That's right, because they lived with their parents, so otherwise they would have been getting interrupted all the time.
Right, yeah. I think there was one of the skits where Wayne's mom comes down to the basement. He's like, "Come on, Mom." And I probably should be worth noting that this was, I think, the first SNL skit-based movie that had been made since, at this point, since Blues Brothers, which I always found kind of interesting.
It shows you that they thought this had comedic potential, and considering they also had a sequel, it clearly worked out for them.
Yeah, it did. Yeah. But yeah, so this movie, so like the basic plot of the movie is you've got Wayne and Garth doing their show.
Also, you remembered right. not only was there was a 12-year gap between the Blues Brothers and this was only the second one that they ever made.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's which again is kind of surprising because you would have thought they would have. I'm actually surprised. Like I think part of the reason the Coneheads movie did so poorly was one of the reasons it did so poorly was because it came out too late.
Okay. See, I've only ever really seen the movie. I don't think I saw a lot of the SNL ones or SNL sketches for Coneheads. So it was like a gap between when they were hot and not.
Yeah, well, yeah, because I mean, it was when Dan Aykroyd was on SNL, and by the time they made the movie, he had been off the show for like a decade.
That's okay. That's right. Wasn't the Coneheads like something that he would do when he was guest starring?
No, it was when he was a regular.
So they took him. They took one from the 80s and brought it back.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he or 70s, I think. No, it would have been. No, it was like mid-late 70s. Yeah,
because
it was him and Jane Curtin was the other one that he would do it with, and the whole shtick was that that everyone else was like completely stupid or completely ignorant to the fact that they're aliens, even though they're acting like aliens and they look like aliens. That was the whole. Whatever you want to call it, the gag.
Okay, I'm going to just go through this list here. Most of these SNL movies, like most of them, are just awful ideas to adapt, and I don't understand, like, what kind of springtime for Hitler nonsense they were doing that they thought these would be profitable. Okay, so we had Blues Brothers, good idea, made a lot of money. Wayne's World, good idea. Coneheads the next year. Sounds like it was more out of time than I thought it was, so that's interesting. And Wayne's World 2, also in 1993. Then there's It's Pat with Julia Sweeney, which still has one of the records for the lowest grossing movies of all time.
Yeah, I think it was only in the theaters for like 2 weeks before they pulled it.
Which It's Pat wasn't even, as far as I'm aware, a beloved sketch.
No, it wasn't. It was just like it was very uncomfortable. Yeah, the joke wore very thin very quickly.
Right, wasn't the thing with It's Pat? Everyone was always trying to figure out whether Pat was a man or a woman.
Yes, yeah, and they're like, and Pat would be like, "Well, my partner and I were gonna do something like, oh, well, what's your partner's name? Chris."
Yeah, that's one of those things where it's kind of funny if it's late at night and you're falling asleep. But
yeah.
Then next up was Stewart Saves His Family, featuring former U.S. Senator Al Franken. That's another character in the same sort of category of only kind of funny because he's kind of awkward.
Yeah.
Then they took a hiatus.
Night at the Roxbury, I think, was
next up was Blues Brothers 2000, which that had a good soundtrack, and that's all I can really say that's good about it.
Yeah.
Then you were right. The next one was Night at the Roxbury, which that was I can see why you would adopt that, because that was a really successful series of sketches on the show.
Yeah, and they could develop a backstory for the two of them, because like in the skits they never really talked.
Mm-hmm.
And then they were just kind of like, yeah, oh, you, me, him. That was basically all it was. And then they did the movie, and they're like, oh, we actually have to write lines for them, and we have to give them names and backstories. And
Then the next year they came out with Superstar with Mary Catherine Gallagher, which that's I think it's basically her doing her awkward Catholic schoolgirl thing from the cheerleading sketches with Will Ferrell.
Yes. Yeah. Never got that.
And also, for some reason, a Kamala Harris campaign event, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
And I think I'm pretty sure that one bombed horribly. Then they let Leon Phelps do The Ladies' Man.
Tim Meadows.
Tim Meadows, excuse me.
Yeah, The Ladies' Man.
Yeah. Which, okay, I haven't seen that one. but that is one of the better ones we're seeing here from this list. Like in terms of like me imagining what a movie based on it would be like.
Yeah.
And then they took a 10-year hiatus, and then we had MacGruber, which we watched a few weeks back,
which was not great, but not bad either. Decent enough.
I am forced to conclude from this list that not only is Wayne's World, it's in the conversation with Blues Brothers for being the best of these movies.
Yeah.
It has very little competition, and MacGruber, I could see a case being made for it being in the top 3. Or at least top 5, which felt very wrong after watching MacGruber, but
yeah, but I agree with that. Although I will defend Wayne's World 2. I actually liked Wayne's World 2, but not as much as this one. But
yeah, and I have a soft spot in my heart for Coneheads, so
yeah.
I've taken us wildly off topic.
Yeah. But yes, but Wayne's World. So we got
which actually going wildly off topic for a meta conversation, very much in line with the comedy of Wayne's World.
It's true, yeah. Yeah. So Wayne and Garth, they're a couple of guys. They do their show at Wayne's basement, and they catch the eye of a network executive named Benjamin, played by Rob Lowe, and
he was so young and pretty back
then. Yeah.
Instead of being old and pretty.
Yeah. Well, actually, I think this was the first movie he did. Those of you who aren't old enough or don't know this, Rob Lowe had a bit of a he had a really bad sex scandal that he got caught in. Like in the late 80s. Yeah, I think I want to say there was a tape. And one of the ladies that he was filmed with, or he was with that night, was below the age of consent. I'll just put it there.
Oh no.
Yeah. Tanked his career for a period of time, and then he did this movie, and then everybody started liking him again. I think he got the role in this movie because he and Mike Myers are really good friends. But yeah, so Benjamin, he sees Wayne's World, and he's like, oh, we can buy this show, and then it can be sponsored by this arcade called Noah's Arcade, owned by Noah Vanderhoff, played by Bill Murray's brother, Brian Doyle Murray.
Who you might remember as he's the Flying Dutchman in SpongeBob, but he's also the boss from Christmas Vacation.
Yes. And usually in movies with Bill Murray, with his brother. And he was one of the writers on Caddyshack. But yeah, and so they get this new show, and they're like, oh, hey, they're about to hit the big time, and then as they go to one of their favorite heavy metal hangouts, Wayne sees the beautiful Cassandra, played by Tia Carrera. She's the
childhood crush of mine, Tia Carrera.
Yes, yeah. And she's a lead singer in a band, and of course he's just like immediately smitten with her, and who wouldn't be?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. And of course, she will be mine. Oh yes, she will be mine.
Yep. And so from there, it's just kind of an escalating thing where it's a mix of show business shenanigans where they're kind of selling out and they don't like it.
Yeah. Yeah, they got a whole scene where they were doing that.
Yeah, I should say in that scene they were just being very ironic and they weren't noticing. New print. So,
New print. Yeah, little, yellow, different.
Wasn't that product taken off the market because it was like actually poisonous or unsafe?
I believe it was, yeah.
I guess that one little sketch bit kind of immortalized it, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, and of course, Rob Lowe, Rob Lowe's character, he's the antagonist of the movie because he's exploiting Wayne and Garth's show, and he's trying to steal Wayne's girlfriend, and
right. So basically, he's the ultimate antagonist in all ways.
Yes.
Other notable cameos, and there were quite a few of them. You had Chris Farley as a random security guard who seemed to know an awful lot for just being a security guard. And IMDb doesn't have him immediately listed, but they had the dad from Married with Children in a random role.
Oh yeah, Ed O'Neill. Yeah, he's the guy who runs the diner that they go to.
Yeah. If you kill 50 people in a war, you're a hero. But if you kill one man in the heat of passion, and then Wayne is like, "Whoa, man! Only I could talk to the camera."
Yeah, yeah. God, who? You had like Meatloaf was the bouncer at the heavy metal club.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He also had Alice Cooper because they had the whole scene where they go to the Alice Cooper concert in Milwaukee.
Yep.
It's pronounced Milwaukee, which is Algonquin for the good land.
Yeah, he just knew way too much about it. That is the humor of this movie in a nutshell, is that it's very meta, very silly, very fourth wall breaky.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
And so I have two thoughts. One is that I think it's interesting how I'm going to call it the dumbass duo was like a staple of 90s comedy. And we kind of need to bring that back, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, like the Wayne's World, the Beavis and Butthead,
Jay and Silent Bob to a lesser extent.
Yeah. Well, and I would put Night at the Roxbury in there too.
Oh yeah,
because they had that same dynamic. But no, I agree because but of course you have to have one that's like slightly smarter than the other one.
Yeah, the consistent rule seems to be is that you have the one who's the leader, who is a bit smarter, but not very much smarter, but smarter and aware enough that like he can make reasonably smart decisions and be kind of normal. Then you have the one who's kind of the wingnut, who's dumber than the other one, but also just occasionally pulls off nonsense that no sane person would try.
Yeah. And Garth is kind of like if it were made today, they'd probably say he was on the spectrum. Just because of he's very awkward about a lot of stuff, but he
on the spectrum or mentally disabled, one of the two.
Yeah, because I mean he's still smart though. I mean he makes himself a homemade taser.
That's true.
and he's able to hack into all these satellites so that they can do a broadcast. But yeah, he's just like very awkward around like a lot of people, and he doesn't like being touched. And
yeah.
The dream woman that he sees at the donut shop. That's Donna Dixon, who at one time was married to Dan Aykroyd.
The SNL connections are thick with this one.
Oh yeah. But yeah, I mean I would say the humor holds up really well. It's still really funny. Gags are great.
Yeah, I think this is also a rare comedy movie where the back end is stronger than the first half. Because from my perspective, a lot of comedy movies can kind of throw their best gags at the start, then kind of peter out until they pick up life at the end. I think this one builds up steam and gets better as it goes along.
Oh yeah, I think so too. Yeah. And I do. You mentioned it being kind of like the meta humor. I like how in the ending, they because usually in comedy movies, like you were saying, like the climax tends to get a lot of the climaxes tend to be very silly and over the top.
Like Blazing Saddles being a classic example.
Yeah, or Animal House. But this movie, like they kind of make fun of that aspect of it, where they have the three different endings. They're like the really horrible, depressing ending, and that where they parody misery, and then the Scooby Doo ending. Well, it's Old Man Withers, the guy who runs a haunted amusement park.
All right, I would have gotten away with it too. Weren't for you darn teenagers.
Darn teenagers. And then they do the mega happy ending.
Yeah.
But no, I agree. Yeah, the jokes actually get better as the movie goes along. I will say the only like knocks, there's the only like big knock, I guess, is that it is a little dated. With some of the references were a little dated, like like the scene with the gray poupon.
Right.
Like I don't think anyone, no one under the age of 40 remembers those commercials.
I don't remember those commercials. I never actually saw one at the time because of the TV I was watching, I guess. And like the only reason I know of that is because of people making fun of it, which tells you just how ubiquitous it must have been.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. But and like I guess of course I guess you just have to look at it from the prism that it's an early 90s movie, and it's just
right.
They're going to make some of those references.
Also, it's kind of hard to remember that at the time that the type of rock and roll they were into, like nowadays it's retro or niche or just like classic. But at the time it's like
classic rock.
having a Alice Cooper in your movie at the time would be like having Sabrina Carpenter in it today, or having like having one of the biggest names of the period.
Maybe not Taylor Swift, but something.
Actually, it's kind of like Red Notice having Ed Sheeran in there at the peak of his musical charting.
Yes, very true. But yeah, I will say another thing. I'll add kind of like some stuff about the production of the movie. So for those of you who probably don't know this, Mike Myers is kind of difficult to work with. He kind of developed that reputation, and apparently, like that was very true with this movie. I think he and the director, what was her name, Penelope Spears, they kind of butted heads a lot, and supposedly he pushed her out of the sequel. But in his defense, these are his characters. So he was going to be very protective of them, but at the same time, it's just like, he was very much a my way or the highway kind of guy.
That might explain why he kind of got kicked out of being in movies after his Love Guru character didn't catch on, because, like, he made a lot of money for a lot of people with Austin Powers. But it occurs to me, if you're hard to work with, one bomb and you're out.
Yeah. And although I will say there was one thing that he did that where he stood his ground, and I agree with it, was the use of Bohemian Rhapsody. The studio wanted him to use a different song, but he was like, "No, we're using Bohemian Rhapsody," and he threatened to quit the movie if they didn't use that song. And now that whole scene is iconic.
And see, okay, so that was one of the scenes early on where it didn't quite hit for me as hard. But again, that's a reasonable minds will differ type of thing. But
yeah, well, I did like Garth with their buddy, where he's partied out, man. You get a spew, and Garth pulls out a little Dixie cup. He gets spewing into this. But yeah, no, this is it's still a classic.
Yep.
And we may have to do Wayne's World 2 at some point.
Yep.
Because I actually haven't seen that one in a long time.
The other thing that occurs to me about this style of what I call it, the dumbass duo movie, is that
Yeah.
you kind of need like the love interest, but you also can't let her be too much of a character, if that makes sense. I'll give another example of a movie that kind of seemed to be playing in the same wheelhouse was Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, where you had a love interest who like was part of the story, but her role in it was clearly just to be the love interest. And it's because which might be why this type of movie has kind of died out, because there'd be executives saying, oh yeah, we got to give her a bigger role, which might actually be like why a lot of movies that might have been dumbass duos kind of become what they call it would be like a sort of a girl boss movie, where you have these two guys who can't do anything, and then they throw in what would have been the simple love interest character who kind of is the most competent one around.
Yeah.
And it totally changes the dynamic.
That would make sense. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. If they made a movie like this today, they'd probably want to get Sydney Sweeney to play the love interest. And then that's when it would really devolve into that.
I could see Sydney Sweeney playing ball with the classic formulation being, oh, okay, look, I'm just here to be the love interest. Sure, where's my check?
Yeah. I don't mind spending half the movie in my underwear.
I've got good genes.
Yes. Ooh. But yeah, this movie is currently on Netflix as well as our previous review. So I don't know how much longer it'll be on there, but yeah.
It is a Paramount movie, so if Netflix doesn't have it, you can always scope out Paramount Plus.
Yeah.
But I am shocked at how long this episode went, considering we only had 2 reviews.
Yeah, I know. Well, we did go off on quite a few tangents.
There is something about not being on a tight schedule with 4 reviews where the tangents flow.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in. We appreciate it as always.
Indeed.
Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Ring the bell. Buy some books. Links for those are in the description down below. And we'll see you next week. Bye, everybody.